Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're diving straight into the invisible, high-stakes legal maneuvers that go down behind closed doors during a corporate mine buyout. We're using the massive Central Queensland handover from Anglo-American to Dilmar as our real-world case study. Because, as you'll see, this isn't just about changing the sign at the front gate. It is all about the balance sheet.
There's a saying from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. Corporate values stop where the balance sheet begins, right? And that perfectly sets the stage for us today. We're going to uncover exactly what happens to your service years, your benefits, and those hard-earned redundancies when your workplace suddenly gets a new owner. Let's see how this actually plays out in real time.
So, let's start at the surface level. Section 1, the changing logo at the Aquila mine.
When a massive player like Anglo-American rolls out and a new entity like Dilmar steps in, the very first thing workers on the ground worry about is their enterprise agreement. I mean, you voted for that agreement based on the old company's corporate policies, their safety standards, their entire reputation, right? So what actually happens to all those terms when there's just a totally new logo stitched onto your work shirt? Well, to figure that out, we need to peel back the first layer and look at Section 2, the legal reality, or what's informally known as the Find and Replace Law. Under Section 316 of the Fair Work Act, there is this mandate. Your enterprise agreement automatically transfers over. It's literally like the law just hits delete on Anglo-American and types in Dilmar. Workers actually call this a forced marriage, and you can completely see why. It legally binds the existing crew to a brand new company, a company whose internal culture and safety standards they never actually vetted. And you know, this sets up a pretty massive trap. Outcome A looks okay at first. If Dilmar offers you your exact same job, pay, and rosters, the Fair Work Commission officially calls that acceptable alternative employment. But take a look at outcome B. You can't just opt out and say, hey, I want my redundancy check because I don't want to work for this new owner. No way. If you just walk away, they can legally apply to cut your redundancy payout down to absolutely zero. But wait, there's a twist. Let's get into Section 3, the labor hire exception, or the 100% contractor scenario. So what if the incoming buyer doesn't actually want to hire you directly? Rumors are always flying around these sites about a 100% contractor model. If Dilmar decides, hey, we're going to hand the whole operation over to a labor hire outfit like McMahon, well then that acceptable alternative employment rule goes right out the window. And suddenly the original owner is forced to take action. Since there's no direct job offer on the table, Anglo-American has to trigger Clause 4.3 of the enterprise agreement, the downsizing process. Normally, they'd look around to redeploy you at their other underground mines. But here's the fascinating loophole our source points out. Anglo is selling all its assets. They literally do not have any mines left in the state to send you to. So those mandatory redeployment steps, they become what's legally termed dead letters. And that forces Anglo to skip straight to the mandatory cash payout. In this specific labor hire scenario, the worker actually walks away totally whole. Because Anglo triggers the redundancy, you get the full comprehensive payout. We're talking 3 weeks of pay for every single year of service, all notice periods covered, every bit of accrued annual leave paid out, plus a locked-in $6,000 relocation allowance. It is a massive financial obligation for the seller. Now, what if the workforce does transfer over like normal? Let's peel back the curtain in Section 4, the boardroom reality and how redundancy is actually factored into the sale. This brings up a really compelling question that workers are actively asking right now. If a company preaches accountability as a core value, why wouldn't the seller just pay out the redundancies they owe? Just let the crew decide if they want to start fresh with the new buyer, right? Well, the answer to that ethical question lies entirely in how multi-billion-dollar deals treat your hard work on a spreadsheet. Let's break down the actual boardroom math here. Neutrally speaking, worker redundancy is treated as a debt. It's a huge multi-million-dollar liability. So how does it get settled during a big sale? It's a trade-off. The seller, Anglo, accepts a lower purchase price on paper so they can make a clean exit, paying exactly zero direct cash to workers on handover day. Meanwhile, the buyer, Dilmar, takes on those contracts and gets a massive, multi-million-dollar discount on the purchase price. The whole thing is seamlessly factored in. And that brings us to Section 5, balancing the ledger and what I call the ultimate cash trap. This is where the narrative gets incredibly strategic. You see, that massive discount given to the new company relies entirely on a very specific outcome when it comes to worker retention. The buyer pockets the upfront discount from the seller, but they physically hold on to the cash. So, think about this highly probable scenario. What happens if a worker transfers over, puts in 6 months, absolutely hates the new culture or the new safety standards, and just decides to resign? Well, if that worker resigns, they get exactly zero in redundancy. Zero. Absolutely nothing. They walk away with just their standard accrued leave. And the new buyer? They completely pocket that massive discount they received from the seller for that worker's years of trench work. The worker's hard-earned tenure literally just vanishes straight into the new buyer's profit margin.
And you know, this is exactly why transferring enterprise agreements is such a highly preferred strategy in the boardroom. It isn't just some administrative convenience, it is a carefully calculated industrial chess match. These corporations are placing a massive financial bet that natural turnover, people retiring, resigning, or just naturally moving on, will quietly wipe out that multi-million-dollar redundancy bill over time that allows the buyer to keep the discount they were handed on day one. So how do you actually survive this industrial chess match? Our source makes a few things absolutely crucial. Keep your mates close. Stay tight with your union delegates so you can pool all your collective knowledge. And honestly, the biggest thing? Read every single word of that transition paperwork put in front of you. Protect your entitlements so your years of hard work aren't used for nothing more than balancing out a corporate ledger. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a vital question to think about. We've seen exactly how the laws work, how the boardroom math adds up, and where the cash actually flows. So the next time a corporate transition targets your workplace, when the logo on your shirt changes, who is really cashing in on your years of service? Stay informed out there, and thanks for joining me on this deep dive.